What up, YouTube? I'm back. So, another episode of Attack on Titan, the final season. It was a great one. There was no action actually, it was all talk, but interesting conversations, So, let's get right to it, man. So obviously at the beginning of the episode, the Marlians, leaders of the army, were talking about how their enemies in other countries are getting better at, fighting the Titans. They're actually, creating new technology to fight the Titans pretty easily. We saw that in last week's episode, and they were talking about how, the Titans and the Marlian Empire is basically not going to be the same because of how technology has advanced, And something that Zeke actually talked about was the founding Titans, because he wants to go back to Paradise Island. And it's been 4 years since season 3, by the way, which is crazy, but he wants to go back to get the founding Titan. And obviously we know that Eren is the one that has the founding Titan, and I'm guessing Zeke wants the founding Titan because it's the strongest Titan, and maybe with that Titan they can, kind of get away with fighting as Titans against these kind of advanced technology, So I thought that was a pretty interesting discussion to start the episode. Like I said, there was a lot of dialogue in this week's episode. We got to see Reiner. He just woke up and he had a nightmare about Mikasa basically killing him. And I thought it was pretty interesting because it seems like he just woke up from regenerating his whole body after what happened at the end of last week's episode, But I thought that was pretty interesting. Obviously, he was in Paradise Island for a while, so it's normal that he kind of has a lot of nightmares about that because he almost died, So that was it was a pretty intense time for Reiner. We also got to see it seems like Marcel's little brother, So Marcel is obviously one of the kids that went with Annie, Bertold, and Reiner to Paradise Island. He actually saved Reiner from Ymir, and then because Ymir ate him, she became, the Jaw Titan or something like that, So that was pretty interesting. We also saw that Marcel's little brother, his name is, I don't actually remember, my bad. His name is Gallyard. He's, like I said, Marcel's little brother, I think, and he's the one that took back the Jaw Titan's power from Ymir. He ate her and took the Jaw Titan powers back, So I thought that was pretty cool. He also said that he got some of her memories and he saw how Reiner was acting, and it seems like he doesn't see Reiner as his equal, He kind of see Reiner as somebody that he really isn't, So I thought all of that was pretty interesting. Obviously, he doesn't seem to like Reiner because he's the reason why his older brother died, We got to meet the card Titan. Her name is Peck, I think. That's how you pronounce it. She's a woman, and it seems like they said that is the first time in 2 months that she's been in her human form, So she's been in her card Titan form for 2 months. That's kind of crazy because we haven't seen a Titan shifter being in their form for that long. We've seen it for maybe a few hours, in the previous season, like Bertold, only a few hours basically, maybe Reiner more than that, and Eren, obviously we saw him use his Titan form, but not for that long. So I'm wondering if it's because it's one of the card Titan's power that she can stay in that form for a long time, And she even had to kind of relearn how to walk on 2 feet because she was walking on 4, So that was kind of interesting to me. We got to see the kids once again, Obviously the main 2 characters of that group is Gabi and Falco, and it seems like both of them wants to become, the next Armored Titan, especially Falco, because it seems like he wants to protect Gabi from becoming the next Titan, because he knows that she has a lifespan after becoming the Titan, So all that was pretty cool to understand these characters from Marley, the Eldians especially, because we didn't get to see that in previous season, understand where they come from and how they think. It seemed like they really admire Reiner, and I don't think that they actually know him like that profoundly, because we all know that Reiner wasn't that confident type of guy at the beginning when he was a kid, from what we've seen so far from the series. So I'm wondering if they'll learn who Reiner really is, because he really isn't that confident. He only does what needs to be done, so I thought that was interesting. We also got to see Reiner, he has kind of PTSD, I'm guessing. We all know that he has a double personality sometime, but I thought that when the kids were going away, he saw Annie, he saw Marcel, Berthold, and Galliard. He saw basically these kids like themselves when they were kids. So I thought that was pretty cool, but also pretty sad, because we all know how that ended. Marcel is dead, Berthold is dead, Annie is in a crystal at Paradise Island under surveillance by the scouts, and obviously himself and Galliard are gonna die in a few years, because they obtained Titan powers. The title of the episode, I think, was Midnight Train, and I'm guessing it was that because they were coming back from war on that train, and the Eldians were celebrating, especially Gabi and Colt, Falco's older brother. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, man, they were coming back on a train, and it seems like this city right there, or this place right there, is Marley, the Marley Empire, and then there's a sector for the Eldians that is called Liberio, so that's their city, so that's pretty cool to see. That's the first time really that we've seen Marley an expansion like that. We haven't really seen the Marley Empire like that, so it was cool to see. Anyway, some of my favorite moment of the episode was after they arrived at their city Liberio. There were the families waiting for the Eldian soldiers. I thought that was pretty heartwarming that the kids were coming back to their parents and everything like that, or the other soldiers were coming back to their families. It was really heartwarming. And then another scene that I really liked was Reiner with his family, and Reiner and Gabi are actually family. I think they're like cousins or something like that. But the reason why I like that scene so much is because it showed how much the Eldians and Marley are really brainwashed by what Marley taught them, because they think that the people in Paradise Island, the other Eldians, are actually the true devils, and that they need to be erased from this world, and that's how Reiner's mother was talking, and that's how Gabi was thinking, because Reiner basically talked about everything that happened, in his time there. I thought that was pretty interesting because it seems like he had remorse. He actually cared. We all know that he actually kind of cared about the people in Paradise Island, so the way that he was talking about the people from there, it wasn't that he hated them, it's just that he felt for them, and it seems like Gabi kind of caught that and then asked the question that if they're bad, because there's a lot of things that they don't know, and the only things that they know is what the Malian government taught them, so I really like that scene a lot, especially from Reiner's standpoint, because he was just thinking about everything that happened back there, and I really think that he cares and that he doesn't really, how can I say that, he doesn't really agree with what the Malian government is doing. Now, another scene that I really liked was the scene with Zeke, Reiner, Gallyard, Peak, and Colt. Basically some of the Titan shifters still in Molly's custody in, the Jaw Titan, the Beast Titan, the Armored Titan, and the Card Titan. Obviously, Colt is the future of the Beast Titan, so they were all together talking about getting the Founding Titan back because of everything that is happening right now with the technology advancement of other countries, and basically taking the Founding Titan back so that they could still be good, without being overmatched by that Titan technology. One of the most important things that they were actually talking about was the Tibers family. It's basically the biggest and richest Eldian family in Marley, and the reason why they were talking about them is because they're the one that has the War Armor Titan. This is one of the Titans that we haven't seen yet, I think, and the reason why they were talking about them is because they basically never go to war, they never get into conflicts, in enemy soil or anything like that, so they don't get into war. They're the richest, they're the ones that don't get involved into other things, and the reason for that is because they were the one, quote unquote, that drove King Fritz away from Marley and into Paradise Island, and that's why they have privileges that other Eldians don't have, so I thought that was pretty interesting. The biggest reason why they were talking about the Tibers family is because other countries don't really care about Eldians, because in their eyes they're the devils, but because the Tibers family are the ones that basically drove away King Fritz and everything, they have the benefit of the doubt. They actually care about the Tibers family's opinion, and there's gonna be a festival where the Tibers family is gonna talk about taking back the Founding Titan and everything like that. So I thought that was a pretty good plan, to work with the Tibers family to basically get in another mission to get the Founding Titan. So I thought this episode was pretty damn good. The dialogue was amazing. There was no action, it was just storytelling and planning about what they're gonna do next. And something that I liked about the first two episodes so far of the final season of Attack on Titan is that we're seeing things from a different perspective. We've been seeing from the perspective of the people in Paradise Island, especially Eren, and now we're seeing the perspective from the people in Marley and the Eldians that are actually still in Marley, that are suppressed by the Marleyans. So I've really liked what we've seen so far from the Marleyans and Eldians still in Marley's perspective. And one last thing that I want to talk about is we saw some soldiers have PTSD because of the war that lasted like 4 years. And something that I just want to say, because I've read a little bit of the manga and a little bit of this arc, and there was someone that was pretty important in that line where there was the people that had PTSD. That's all I'm gonna say though, because I don't want to spoil for those that haven't read anything from the manga, but they didn't highlight that person, but he's really important in the story, so that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, man, it was a great second episode of the final season of Attack on Titan. Let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below, and let me know what you think is gonna happen next. From the next episode preview, it seems like it's going to be all about Reiner and what he's lived through since he was a kid, so I can't wait for next week's episode to see his story through his eyes, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, man, I do Attack on Titan reviews every Sunday, so subscribe for that. But I also do other anime related things like Jujutsu Kaisen reviews on Fridays, One Piece reviews on Saturdays, and then Boruto Naruto Next Generation reviews on Sundays. So stay tuned for all of that, man. In January, there's The Promised Neverland, and there's Dr. Stone Season 2 reviews coming back on the 7th and the 14th. So stay tuned, it's gonna be real fun. Can't wait for all of that. Like, comment, subscribe, it would help my channel a lot. And follow me at Anime Specialist on Twitter and Instagram, man. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Anime Specialist out. Peace.